$20 a month.
Okay.
So I wrote a letter, I wrote a column about this, leaving family program. What happens is they realize that people like the social program, it becomes part of its fabric, and they stop talking about it. And so government is way too big, way too intrusive, taxes way too much, and as a result, we get this little bitty GDP growth every year, 2%, 3%, and Donald Trump got us above 3%, and he brags about that. There was a time where we used to get 5, 6% growth. So people's wealth doubled every 10, 12 years. That now would be utopia because government takes so much and by definition spends the money less efficiently. One of my heroes is Milton Friedman, the economist. I had a chance to meet him. He even did a little blurb for one of my books. He said there are 4 ways of spending money. The most efficient way is your own money on yourself because you spend it exactly the way you want to. Second is your own money on somebody you care about. It's when you're buying a gift for your wife or for your daughter. Third is when somebody else is spending their money on you, as when you have an expense account. You can't go crazy, otherwise you get fired if you're the most the least efficient way is when you're spending somebody else's money on somebody else. And look what these bureaucrats are doing. They're taking somebody else's money, spending it on somebody else. And as a result, you get all of these inefficiencies. Even for charity, I used to volunteer for United Way for one summer once. And you give $1 to United Way, 85 cents of that dollar gets down to the intended beneficiary. Government, from your pocket to the federal government to the intended beneficiary, about 70 cents is lost in transfer costs because people are working on salaries, they're not volunteering the way you volunteer for United Way. So even for charity, it's less efficient. If government was smaller and got out of the way, we'd be more prosperous, we'd be happier, there'd be more money for charity. The more money you have, the more generous you are. And so I'm a bad person to ask. I believe that our, meaning Republicans, campaign strategy, campaign for an amendment spending to the GDP. I think 10%, with exceptions for inflation, for war, and for natural disaster. And I haven't heard anybody say that. So I'm frustrated with both parties. I vote for the Republican Party because it's the party that does the least damage, and they'll be stronger on the border, stronger on national security. They'll tax a little less, they'll regulate a little less, but the Democrats don't even see a problem, and Republicans want to take a pocket knife to a problem that I think requires a chainsaw. So I'm frustrated every time I get up in the morning and prepare my little video. I'm frustrated with how big government is, how much it takes, and Democrats want to grow it even more and take even more.
Yeah, and people don't realize that when you give the government an inch, they never give that inch back, and they always take a yard, always.
I'll give you an example. Here in California, I remember years ago, they wanted there to be a voluntary family and medical leave program. We're not going to make it mandatory. We're not going to tax taxpayers to do it. And then little by little, it became mandatory, and now they're taxing taxpayers to set up family medical leave. However you feel about it, it ought not be mandatory, and certainly other taxpayers shouldn't be paying for it. Corporations are setting up family medical leave on their own. So can we just leave it alone? Mm-hmm. And minimum wage, it's always up. You never hear anybody say, okay, $15 and that's it. As soon as the $15, they're going to want 20. And what it's done is it's made it unaffordable to hire people with low skills. A large percentage of whom are black and brown people. That's the kinds of people on the left claim that they care about. So it's just outrageous to me. The whole thing is outrageous.
You think it's fixable, Larry? Or you think it's out of control? I mean, I don't see government decreasing its size at all.
Unfortunately, I don't. When I was running, somebody dug up some column I wrote. I've written a column since April of 1998, so there's 1,200 columns that I've written. Mm-hmm. 27,000 of radio hours. So they're pulling through all that stuff, trying to find something against me. And I don't know how long ago it was. I wrote a column that said the minimum.
So the point here is It doesn't matter how you fucking do it. Government needs to not do it. Period. Government needs to be as small as possible.
Government needs to not do it. Almost. Period. The only problem is,
I'm talking about these extra. So other than those handful of things that the government was supposed to do that was listed, provide a military. There was a few other things, but that's basically the main one.
Right.
But other than that, that's it. We need to go back.
I agree with one caveat, which is that, unfortunately, there is a certain undeniable degree of logic in the absence of successful conservative attempts to fix the problem in the free market. At some point, it doesn't make total sense to prevent the government from doing anything about it at all if nobody else is going to do anything about it either.
Yeah, but I don't see why there would ever be a situation where really nobody's going to do anything about it.
Right. It's always going to be a matter of degree, and 99% of the time I'm going to come down on the side of, sorry, it's not worth doing it using government power, because that's way too fucking dangerous.
It's inefficient. Way too inefficient. We would be way better off just figuring out a way to do it in the private sector. That's way more efficient. If you can make it profitable, it will happen.
Right. The problem is, leftists can't hear past the part where your first reason not to do it is it's dangerous to grow the size of government, which is how conservatives feel. And the second problem is, conservatives are hard to convince that it's going to be profitable to do that. But those are fixable problems.
I don't give a fuck if leftists think it's not dangerous to grow the government. That's just fucking true. Who cares what they say?
Right.
And the biggest thing is the convincing the Republicans that it's going to be profitable. All you gotta do is just get some young Elon Musks in there to just sell their thing.
But
that's all. I guarantee you could get a ton of little economists or whatever who can come up with a business plan that if they just had the capital given to them, that they could do it. And I'm not saying that they should get it from Republicans. All they need to know is that it's possible. I'm not saying they need to get it from the government.
I don't even know what you're saying right now.
In order to convince Republicans that it's possible to make all of these social services profitable in the private sector, all you need is young kids who need opportunities, who also are trying to do this, to who are educated in the thing, in economics, educated in building.
It's just obvious how it would be profitable to me. Whatever.
Okay, but they're going to want detailed ass business plans. Usually you're going to want some kind of education on how to build a fucking business plan like that. So your bare minimum going to be Googling some shit an economist wrote.
I'll have the details for them myself because I'll already be doing the business profitably.
Yeah, myself. And you don't think that you will have looked up anything from any kind of economist on any kind of internet at all to start that business?
What? Like I already haven't?
Okay then, so don't say you won't need any economists' help. You've already learned from economists.
I think you're splitting hairs.
No, I'm not. My only point was that I was trying to make it happen before you actually made your business.
Yes, I agree. That's also a great idea.
Uh-huh. The right people need to talk to the right people. That is all I was saying. In order to get Republicans to be convinced to talk to me, not once.
Whatever, dude.
Could set the price. I said, all right, who's your favorite economist? And she went,